All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Looking back at the video, really excited about this team going forward as we continue to develop and improve. A lot of good from last night, a lot to certainly correct, but really excited about a lot of things after watching the tape. You know, offensively, obviously, we just weren't. We were a little off last night. You know, we all had a hand in it: coaches, quarterback, running back, tight end, receivers, offensive line. We all need to be better, without a doubt, but a lot of good. I mean, a 2-minute drive before the half where we converted a 3rd and 18, and then, got 17 yards on a 3rd and 18, and then went forward on 4th and 1 with tempo. Marshawn Lloyd, great individual effort on that play, broke 3 tackles and got the first down, and then come in there for a 53-yard field goal. And then we don't start the second half the way that we wanted, with an interception offensively, but then when our offense gets the ball back, they take it right down the field for a huge touchdown. Saw some big-time throws from Spencer last night, some big-time catches from our receivers, and then watching the video, too, give Georgia State credit. I mean, that's a good defense. It's got a lot of players that have played a lot of plays, but certainly have to be better offensively, and we will be. Defensively, felt like we knew we needed to stop the run and felt like we controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part throughout the night. They had, I believe, 2 runs that were accounted for close to 100 yards just on 2 runs alone. So we've got to get that cleaned up. But overall, did a nice job of controlling the line of scrimmage. I mean, you look back at the 4th and 1 play early in the game, which was a huge tone setter. Zach Pickens absolutely dominates the offensive tackle and has him 2 yards back in the backfield, which, disrupts the play. And then Nicky Manwari comes in there and makes a great stop on that to make a tackle on 4th and 1 to knock the guy back. We were awesome on 3rd down last night. That team was really good on 3rd down last season. We forced 7 3-and-outs on defense, which was really, really good, and then played a bunch of true freshmen, which those guys are just going to continue to get better week in, week out. And then special teams, like we talked about last night, really, really good. And pleased and a lot to correct on that as well. It's one game. We're not going to get too high or too low off one game. We learned from it today. We came in here. We corrected. We celebrated the victory. We learned from it, good and bad. And then it's exciting because there are so many new faces that were playing their first game ever in Williams-Brice Stadium last night. Not just the true freshmen, but a lot of transfers that started for us last night. Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogner, Devontae Reed, Juice Wells, and it's their first time out in that environment, and it was we'll continue to get better. But most pleased with the fact, 2 things: we responded to adversity last night. We talked to the players about not writing the script of how this game's going to go before the game even starts, that there's going to be adversity, and that's when we are at our best. And we showed that last night. We dealt with some adversity at different times, but our guys didn't blink. There was no panic, and we showed that we're going to be a bunch of resilient dudes this year that compete. And then the other thing, too, we had 0 pre-snap penalties. Don't know if you guys saw that or not, but we didn't have 1 false start penalty. We didn't have 1 delay a game. We didn't have 1 offsides. So that's a group that was focused and ready to play, and really proud of them from that standpoint because I know we had some issues last year at the beginning of the season with penalties. We've got to continue to do a great job with that and play smart football. Injury-wise, came out of it okay. Looking at it, Ja'Kai Moore, he left the game and would have been able to return if we needed him to last night. But after seeing him today, his may be a little bit more significant than we initially thought. So I'd say he's questionable for this week. R.J. Roderick, we'll know more tomorrow on him. I'd say he's questionable this week. And then, other than that, we came out of it pretty solid. Hopefully can get Christian Bill Smith back this week, and we'll see how he goes on practice on Tuesday. Looking at it as coaches and the coaches' decisions on players of the game for us, defensively it was Brad Johnson, really played well and was a force last night. Special teams-wise was Mitch Jeter. We always have 3, but Mitch Jeter, Hunter Rogers, and then Rashad Amos and Trayvon Kenyon were our special teams players of the game. And then on offense, it was Jalen Brooks. He was lights out last night, and we talked about it with the team today. He played like a guy that was grateful for his opportunity to be back out there in that stadium. And he did a great job blocking on the perimeter. He did a great job making some really, really, really great catches last night. And then in all honesty, he easily could have been our special teams player of the game as well. He went out and he's the guy, I'm sure you guys noticed this, but when the other team punts, he's the guy out there that's out there holding up their gunner, which is one of the hardest positions to play on special teams because you're out there on an island against a guy. And he went out there and did a really, really good job last night on our punt pressure unit as well from a return game standpoint. So excited about it. That one's over. It's behind us. We're just got off the practice field, had a good day, and full speed ahead on Arkansas from here on out. So take some questions with whatever time we have left here.
Hey, Shane, it's Dave. After looking at the tape from the game and looking at the offense, I mean, was there one specific problem you could put your finger on about some of the struggles? I mean, Georgia State.
Nope. Like I just said, David, we all had a hand in it. Coaches, quarterbacks, offensive line, running backs. Sometimes it's a quarterback handing the ball off when he's short, should pull it. Sometimes it's a quarterback not just got confused on coverage. First play, the interception to start the second half. We can talk about throwing the ball a little bit high over AB's head. The ball should have been thrown to the slant down in the boundary. Offensive line certainly had their hand in a lot of it. We missed some. We didn't do a great job of handling their movement. Running back wise, we missed a couple, blitz pickups. Or sometimes we stayed in to protect when we didn't need to. Receiver-wise, we had some sloppy routes. Receiver-wise, we got our butts kicked on the perimeter blocking. Tight end-wise, we had some sloppy routes. We got our butts kicked blocking on the perimeter. So we all had a hand in it, and things are never as good as they seem, never as bad as they seem. They're certainly not as bad as some people may want to make them out to be. It's game one. We'll learn from it, and we'll be better, and it starts with coaches as well. I'm not sitting here blaming players. Those are just things that happen, but it all starts with us as coaches because as a coach, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And there's things that happened last night that we're not going to allow to happen, and we've got to coach it better.
Hey, Shane, do you feel it? Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Shane, this is Ben. This is a little bit more big picture, but obviously they just approved an expansion for the college football playoff, 2 days ago. I'm just curious kind of what your thoughts on it are and if you had any.
I heard a little bit about it, Ben. I'll be honest with you. I don't mean to dodge the question. I really haven't kept up with the specifics of it. I think it's the same thing that Commissioner Sankey was on board with last year as far as the proposal that I thought everybody was on board with last summer, but we had some people that I think they let their feelings maybe get in the way of going forward with the expansion plan that was last year. So it's good to see that everybody came back around to what was I think somewhat agreed upon last year as well. So like it the way it is now, that's certainly been very, very good for the SEC. Commissioner Sankey said that. We're fine with 4. We showed that last year. But I think anything that gives more teams the opportunity to compete for the championship is good. And making sure that you get the best teams in there and not necessarily 7-6 conference champion that has a great conference championship game, and I think that is the way that it's set up. But that's my feelings on it, and if that's not the format that we have, I apologize. But like I said, I didn't follow it super closely. I just did see where there was an improved expansion.
Yep. Hey, Shane,
Thanks,
do
Shane.
you feel like? Sorry, Ben. You feel like there's any? You mentioned last week not knowing how your team would react in certain situations or how you would react. Is there anything you feel like you learned about your team last night that maybe you didn't know going in and had to just get to a game to actually see and learn?
Yeah, I mean, you never really know just how your team is going to handle adversity, and we knew that was coming in coming at some point, and it would have been very easy for us. I'm sure a lot of people, and I don't know, maybe our players thought that when at halftime this thing was going to be in hand, and I knew that we were going to be in for a battle last night And hopefully our players, knew that as well. But until you're actually in that moment, you don't know how you're going to react. And, there's all this excitement about the game last night and everything in the stadium. And then we go into halftime, and it's a dogfight. And then we throw an interception on the second play of the second half. It would have been very easy at that point for people on the team to start, bickering, for the players to play tight and afraid of making mistakes, and we didn't. It's kind of like, all right, we're built for this, and let's go respond and keep attacking. And that was good to see, because until you're actually in that, you don't know. And I don't mean to say that we've got all the problems solved, because we're going to certainly, face adversity on the road this week, and we're not going to be in our home stadium with 83,000 or 80-plus thousand people, cheering for us. It's going to be a different environment, so we've got to handle that well. But I did learn that this is a team, to have that many young guys out there, handled it well. And then the other thing I'd say, too, is just to have so many young guys out there in some critical situations. Kawan Banks, Stone Blanton, had a nice drop in coverage on a 3rd and long they had. They ran 4 verticals, and he was there. We were in 3 deep, and they had a good call against what we had, and Stone made a nice play, and Gilbert Edmonds, not a young guy, but he did a nice job rushing the passer last night, and Juice Wells in his first game action. So being able to see how some of these new guys responded, they responded well last night, and the moment wasn't too big for them.
Hey, Shane, you're kind of talk about either coaching it or allowing it to happen. What can you guys do as coaches to kind of clean some of that stuff up as you go in from week 1 to week 2?
I think we just, we always talk, Colin, I think, about different guys learn different ways, and we not every player learns sitting in a meeting room and hearing the coach, talk about it. Some players need more one-on-one time. Some players need more group time. Some players need to walk through it on the practice field. Some players are better at live reps on the practice field, whatever it may be. So continuing to, try and be better teachers. I think we can always, really, just continue to just emphasize it as well. We do a perimeter blocking drill every week. You guys have been out there in one of the live open practices in August and saw us do it. Well, we emphasized the heck of it, and we were really good at it defensively last night. We controlled the perimeter. I mean, Darius Rush made some really big-time plays when the ball got thrown out to the flat. But, offensively we weren't good enough, and we've got to be better. So just maybe looking at in practice, do we set that drill up, that period up a little bit differently than what we do? But, again, I'm not going to overreact to game one. I think every coach in America right now is talking about mental errors that their team made on offense yesterday, or defense, special teams. But offense and probably aren't as happy with whatever they wanted. I mean, all I kept hearing about was Ohio State, how many points they're going to score against Notre Dame last night. I don't think they played as well on offense as maybe they wanted. Or I saw Coach Kiffin upset at his offense and the way they played against Troy. So, I mean, it's early in the season. It's 1 week. We'll continue to coach it and expect to make a lot of improvements. But also, having said that, too, it wasn't that bad, guys. We just beat a pretty good Sun Belt team by 3 touchdowns at home and didn't play great on offense. So we ain't sitting around here feeling sorry for ourselves like what the heck's wrong with the offense. We didn't play great last night. We had a hell of a win, and we can't wait to get back to work.
Coach,
anyone else? One more. Here we go.
Hey, Coach. What's the top priority as you're starting your week scouting Arkansas? What are you looking at to prepare first?
Yeah, we got to certainly, we need to create more turnovers than what we did. Offensively last night, or defensively last night, we were able to get 1 turnover on the interception, and then had a couple on offense that we gave away. So we've got to be better at creating turnovers. And then the other thing I would say is just obviously, I mean, you guys know this and ladies know this. We've got to be able to run the football. If Arkansas or any team, Georgia State, South Carolina State, Arkansas, Georgia, they're able to make us one-dimensional or make any team one-dimensional, it's hard to call plays that way. So we've got to find a way to run the ball and continue to work on stopping the run as well. And again, we've got 1 game of our body of work right now that we can look at and say, okay, here's kind of where we are. Here's some warts that maybe showed up that we didn't anticipate that we've got to, maybe have a better answers for as far as what we're doing, offense, defense, and special teams, and we got a better idea about our personnel. So it'll be a big challenge, but we're excited to get to work, and that's what I'm going to do right now. You guys have a good night. Thanks.